Hey, what's going on, guys? Richie from 04 Mach 1 Speed. So I have a new flashlight here. This is the Thrunite TN40, and I didn't even know this flashlight came out. I just went to Self-Built's YouTube channel and happened to see a couple of new reviews from the Acebeam K70 and the Thrunite TN40. And I feel kind of bad, like I said before, because I've actually been thinking about buying the Acebeam K60 for quite some time, but I ended up going with this instead, mostly due to the fact that the numbers were incredible on this flashlight. Thrunite claims 4450 on the output, 4,450 lumens, but Self-Built tested to about 4850, so it's actually 400 lumens underrated. And the intensity is supposed to be 331,000 CD, but it's actually about 370,000 CD, so almost a 400,000 CD quad LED flashlight. It's something you don't really see every day. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably one of the most intense, if not the most intense, quad LED flashlight on the market, all thanks to the XPL HIV3. Now, the XML2 is on right, of course, in the TN30 Mini, and the XPL HI emitter is on the, left. And so, in case you guys didn't know too much about the XPL HI emitter, obviously HI stands for high intensity, but there's a reason for that. The XPL HI emitter is actually 3.45 by 3.45 millimeters, so it's very small, whereas the XML2 is 5 by 5 millimeters, so the XPL HI is actually 1.55 millimeters smaller in every direction. It's a huge difference when you're talking about LEDs. I've never actually seen a D-domed LED, but some people describe the XPL HI emitter as being very close to a D-domed XML2. Alright, so on the Thrunite TN40, I made sure to get cool white and not neutral white, like I did to the TN30 Mini. I kind of wish I'd have gotten cool white. Cool white is usually about 10 to 15% brighter overall. Neutral 10 is just a little bit dimmer of an LED. But I made sure to get cool white on this thing. And on the TN40, they are definitely very deep. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can see. And the TN30 Mini was never meant to be a thrower, as you can see how shallow those reflectors are. So I'm going to use the TN30 Mini as a little light so you guys can see. It's not even on the highest mode, just so we can take a close look at the XPL HI emitter. It's a fantastic LED and much smaller than I actually had thought it was. Moving on to the price of this flashlight. This flashlight costs an average of $260, so most people would assume that $260 is kind of expensive, and that's definitely Thrunite's most expensive flashlight. I believe the Thrunite TN36 UT and the TN36 are about 240, 250, I'm not sure. They might be 260 as well, but all I know this is basically Thrunite's most expensive flashlight. $60, that's kind of pricey for a flashlight, but in reality, if you think about it, not really, because let's say hypothetically you were to buy this flashlight and it didn't have an integrated battery built into the whole back piece. This whole back piece is pretty much a battery. It would, even if it cost about 200 bucks, you'd end up spending $60 on, for high quality for 18650s anyways, if you didn't already have some. So it kind of comes out to about the same. So $260 really isn't bad. So here's the back of it. ROHS, restriction of hazardous substances. Here's the charge port back here, covered up with this little waterproof thing, so you can, it is IPX8, I'm sure. I'm not 100% sure, but. And then here's the switch back here to tell you your battery indicator. Now, there's one thing about this flashlight, I'm guessing because this thing is so brand new, there's a defect in my circuit back here where the battery indicator or battery tester is, and it always stays red constantly. Even when this thing is fully charged, halfway dead, almost dead, fully charged, 100%, it still stays red no matter what. It's supposed to turn blue when it's done charging. Now, the good thing is the actual fast charger, the 3.5 amp or 3500 milliamp fast charger that it comes with, the good thing is there's an LED indicator on here that also does the same thing, except for it goes from red to green. So when it's charging, it's at red, and this light turns green when it's done charging. So I'm glad it's got that, because if it didn't, I wouldn't exactly know if this battery was charged or not. So, but I contacted Thrunite, really nice people, and they told me that it's probably a defect in the circuit back there. Something may have happened, might be a short out or something. Maybe not a short out, but something messed up in that button, and it doesn't affect the performance, nor does it affect the charging or the actual battery life, so I'm not even going to worry about it. My guess is that Thrunite will end up coming out with spare batteries, so you can purchase them and have an extra battery if you need one. So the interface works the exact same as the TN30 and the TN30 Mini, the TN36 and TN36 UT. Basically that electronic switch. Remember, it does draw current no matter what, since it is an electronic switch. All flashlights do. But the good thing is it's anodized, so you can just unscrew this and you can just break the circuit and you don't have to worry about it drawing any current whatsoever. But I imagine this thing will take years to drain the battery anyways. As Self-Built said, about 20 years. In fact, the electronic current, or the current that's being drawn from that electronic switch in the off position, isn't enough to make any difference at all. Push the button, it goes into your last mode that you used. Of course, it is digitally regulated and it doesn't use PWM, which is great. Even on lowest mode, definitely no PWM there, pulse width modulation. But you hold the button down and it cycles through the modes. You have low, hold it down, medium, high. This cat loves flashlights. See, he's gonna follow it everywhere it goes. Everywhere he follows Alright, so cycles through your modes. And then if you double tap it, it goes into your instant turbo mode of that 5,000 incredible lumens, insane lumens. Now, of course, it doesn't memorize the turbo mode, so you have to double click it every single time. And then you hold it down, and of course, you go into your moonlight mode, where you can actually stare directly into the reflectors. So in that moonlight mode, who knows how long it lasts, quite some time, probably days, maybe weeks. But pretty much every flashlight I've ever owned, when you hit the strobe mode, it gives you the maximum output in strobe. But in this flashlight, it's different. When you do the strobe mode, it actually drops down to 1100 lumens, and I imagine just because it's so intense, they don't want you damaging somebody's eyes, maybe? Isn't that the point, kind of strobe, if someone's trying to attack you? Maybe? I don't know. But it does drop down to 1100 lumens when you go into strobe, so this is the cool little box it comes with, of course. Instruction manual, blah, blah, blah. There's your fast charger, your 3.5 amp fast charger. It's actually pretty good since my LUC 4-bay 18650 charger, its maximum is 2 amps, and I don't even charge anything at 2 amps. It just gets too hot, so 1 is pretty much the max. So the fact this thing charges at 3.5 amps is pretty good, which means this thing gets charged in about 2.5 hours. Here is your little shoulder strap. This flashlight's so big it has a shoulder strap, so you can wear it like you wear your AR-15 or your AR, And then you have spare parts. You got your, spare O-rings, boot cover, lanyard ring for this giant flashlight. And then you have your warranty card in there. Alright, so I found this to be very interesting. If you do have both these flashlights or the 36 UT, do not do this because I'm just warning you right now. This is the Thrunite TN40 battery cell, and I have it actually attached to the TN30 Mini. I'm not going to turn it on. Probably nothing's going to happen, if anything, because it's a lower voltage than all 4 of the 18650s in here. The battery cell fits perfectly on the flashlight, so that's very interesting. And this is the Thrunite TN30 Mini back part on the TN40 head, and of course it fits perfectly as well. And I would definitely, absolutely recommend not turning this thing on, since there are 4 18650s in here working at about 4 volts a piece, 4.2 volts, 3.7, max peak of 4.2. So you have a lot more voltage in this thing than you do in the battery cell for the TN40. So if you do have this, I would not recommend turning this flashlight on with the 4 18650 configuration. You might possibly fry the actual circuit. You won't fry the LEDs, but you will fry the circuit. There's one cool thing about this flashlight. It comes in an Amazon box that looks identical to the one that I destroyed with my laser. So now you have another Amazon box. Oh my God, hauling ass. Good, that means there's no cops over here. That church is probably about 600 feet away.